and welcome to the Aunty Lisa show. And what shall we do a story about today? Let's see. Ooh, this one's getting a little low on the ground. Who have we got? El Fuego. And the Hares of Havoc. In the red bag we have Captain Barnacles and Sky. And oh look, all of us. Hey. Yeah. In the bag of random things. Hoping for something good. Treasure. Okay. Get on board with treasure. And in the bag of places. Oh, Dinosaur Times. I don't know if you can't read anyway. Mummy can read. She'll tell you. Dinosaur Times. Right. One day, Aunty Lisa, Aleksander and Kristoffer fancied going on a little trip back to Dinosaur Times. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking this was a silly idea, but in actual fact, it was a brilliant idea. What could possibly go wrong, I ask you? Well, lots of things. So, obviously they packed a bag each. Kristoffer wore his special Andy hat and his special backpack, and he brought his binoculars and all that kind of jazz. And Aleksander had his super cool cap on, and he had his backpack full of kit. And Aunty Lisa had a backpack full of kit and a first aid kit as well, obviously, safety. And they thought, right, we need to get ourselves back to Dinosaur Times today. But maybe it would be fun if we brought along with us Captain Barnacles. Now hear me out. Captain Barnacles, he knows a lot about under the sea creatures. And this trip was not going to be any ordinary trip. This trip was going to be a trip under the sea in Dinosaur Times. I mean, obviously sometimes on the land, otherwise we'd suffocate, but also under the sea. And they thought Captain Barnacles would love it. So they'd invited him along, and then they needed a time travelling friend. And who do you suppose they gave a call to? Andy. That's right. Oh, it's very sunny just here. And Andy had said, of course, he would take them back to Dinosaur Times. So, Captain Barnacles, Aleksander, Aunty Lisa and Kristoffer all headed off to the Natural History Museum, which is in London. And they had to travel, she knows, on the tube train, which goes underneath London City. And so they were on the tube train when all of a sudden the tube train went, and Aleksander, Kristoffer and Aunty Lisa were like, no, we're on our way to see Andy. This tube train can't stop. What? Well, you know what had happened? I'm sniffing a lot, aren't I? I'm going to blow my nose. Do you know what had happened? Well, what had happened was that some ghosts had terrified the driver. The driver of the tube train had just legged it off the tube train up the escalators and out of there. He was out of there. Some terrifying ghosts had scared him horribly. All better. They terrified that poor guy. Gone. And everyone sat around going, well, that's annoying. We've got these stupid ghosts scaring everybody. And Aleksander and Kristoffer thought to themselves, well, we need to get rid of those ghosts. What are we gonna do? So, they went down to the head of the tube train through all the little doors with Aunty Lisa and Captain Barnacles all the way down the tube train because no one was gonna stop them going back in time today. Not some stupid old ghost. But do you know what happened when they got there? It was only the Hares of Havoc who were terrifying people for fun. They were riding around under the ground on the tube train and up and down the rails, terrifying people on their motorcycles, like, and people were like, running away. And Aleksander and Kristoffer were like, hey, you guys, we thought you were good guys. Why are you terrifying everybody? And they went, of course they had been gloomed. So they were terrifying people because the ghost gloominess was in them. And then Aleksander and Kristoffer spotted another familiar face. You know who it was? Well, I'll tell you. It was only Fuego. And he was like, hey, Aleksander, Kristoffer, how's it going? He's turned Italian. Wrong accent. Never mind. So, Aleksander and Kristoffer were like, what are you doing down here? And he said, well, I heard that the Hares of Havoc were going crazy and I thought I'd join in. And everyone went, Fuego, you're supposed to be a good guy. And he went, yes, but it's so funny terrifying people because I'm a skeleton now. And Aleksander and Kristoffer said, yeah, that is pretty funny. And Captain Barnacles said, wait a minute, this guy's your friend? Wait a minute, this guy's your friend? And Aleksander and Kristoffer said, yes, Fuego's a good guy. He's just having a silly day. And Captain Barnacles said, well, I don't think I really approve. But I suppose if you say he's okay, then he must be okay. Oh, all right. But these other ghosts, are they bad? Should you maybe get rid of them? And Aleksander Kristoffer went, well, the Hares of Havoc, they're our friends too, kind of. But it's just that they've been gloomed. And meanwhile, the Hares of Havoc were just driving up and down the rails, going, terrifying everybody still. And Captain Barnacle said, well, is there anything you can do? Because I really wanted to go back in time to Dinosaur Times today. And Fuego went, what? You're going to Dinosaur Times? Oh, that's amazing. Aleksander and Kristoffer said, yeah, we're going to Dinosaur Times. You want to come too? And Fuego was like, yes, that sounds amazing. And Aleksander and Kristoffer said, well, we don't know actually if it'll work on ghosts, but you can try. So, Fuego agreed that he would stop joining in and terrifying people. And Aleksander and Kristoffer said, okay, let's de-gloom these poor Hares of Havoc. We've just got to chase them. Now, the Hares of Havoc, by this point, were on the platform, which is the bit next to where you get on the train, which you probably know because you've probably watched Thomas the Tank Engine a couple of times in your life. Anyway, that's where they were. They weren't on the track anymore. They were driving up and down the platform, scaring people. And all the crowds of people were running away. Like, ah! And the Hares of Havoc like, Aleksander said, hey, you, Hares of Havoc. And Kristoffer said, come over here. Pick on someone your own size. And Aunty Lisa said, yeah. And then they all went, pew, 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 pew. The ghosts, the gloom, the Hares of Havoc were gone. And the Hares of Havoc themselves were like, what just happened? Why are we down here on the platform of this tube station? Oh, this has got to stop happening to us, man. Anyone want to go and get a coffee? Aunty Lisa said, me, I'll come. And Aleksander and Kristoffer went, no, we're going to the Natural History Museum. And the Hares of Havoc went, yeah, you're busy, I guess. Okay, well, bye. So off they went. And everyone else just stood around in stunned silence. And then they thought, well, we still haven't made it to the blinking Natural History Museum. We're halfway through what should be the length of a story. Let's crack on. They needed to get that tube train running. But there was a problem. All the other people were gone. They had run off. All the people who work at the train station or the tube station, all of the public, they were all gone. So El Fuego said, hey, I've got an idea. And he strutted down to the front of that tube train. And he went, all aboard! And he climbed inside. And everyone jumped on the tube train because he had just pressed the door button. Doors closing. Beep, 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 beep. They all leapt on in time. They went, off we go. Tube trains, as far as I can tell, are pretty much a stop-go system. So El Fuego just pressed go. And he drove that tube train all the way to the station that was for the Natural History Museum. And then he pressed stop. And it went, doors opening. The Natural History Museum. Have a good time. Bing, 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 bing. I wish tube trains normally said that. But anyway, doors opened. Off they all went. Now, they were just about to go into the Natural History Museum when they spotted an old friend next to a tree. And who do you suppose it was? Well, I'll tell you. It was Sky. What? She was next to a tree. Not doing anything she shouldn't be. No, definitely not weeing on it. Definitely not. Anyway, so they went, hi, Sky! And Sky was like, hi, you guys. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Definitely not weeing on a tree. Anyone got any treats? Can I have a treat? Somebody? Aunty Lisa had some treats. Always carry dog treats. Always. Good advice. She gave her a treat. Sky was like, wow, what are you guys doing? And they all explained that they had arranged to meet Andy to go back to Dinosaur Times and look under the sea. And Sky said, wow, that's amazing. Can I come too? And Aunty Lisa said, well, can you swim? And Sky said, yeah, I'm a dog. We invented doggy paddle. So I think actually, yes, I can swim pretty well. So Sky joined the crew, which was by now El Fuego, Captain Barnacles, Sky, Kristoffer, Aleksander and Aunty Lisa. And they all went into the Natural History Museum, which is one of the best museums probably in the world. Anyway, has loads of dinosaurs in it and woolly mammoths, stuff like that. And they bumped straight into their great friend Andy. And Andy was like, oh my God, where have you been? I've been waiting for ages. Well, then they had to explain the whole ghost on a train story. By the time they'd done that, Andy said, okay, good excuse. Let's crack on. Dinosaur Times won't wait forever, you know. Which was silly because it's a time machine. Clearly it will. Anyway, so they all went up to the clock. And Andy set the dial to Dinosaur Times. I realise that's a bit general, but that's what he did. Dinosaur Times. And they all stood in front. And it went dong, dong, dong. And then they all went. And they landed on a beach in Dinosaur Times. What? Well, it was super cool because A, it was a lovely beach and it was a hot sunny day and it was a lovely place to be on a hot sunny day. And B, there were some baby dinosaurs running up and down the beach making footprints. And that was pretty cool, because do you know what? Some places people have found dinosaur footprints that they must have made when they were running up and down the sand. And that's exactly what was happening that day. Baby T-Rexes. Thank God, goodness, whoever you want to believe in, not the mummy T-Rex at that moment. Baby T-Rexes were racing each other up and down the beach, going making cool T-Rex footprints that hopefully people would find in 1,000,000 years' time, or several 100 million years' time. My history is pretty sketchy. Anyway, so Andy said, right, you guys, we all need to keep a bit of an eye out, because there might be a mummy T-Rex nearby. But lucky us, we're going into the sea. And everyone went, yeah, we're going to the sea. How exciting. Well, and he said, right, I have managed to find, after, a little bit of hunting, I found enough scuba gear for everybody. Just very small tanks of oxygen, though, because I had to carry them. So we cannot stay down for long. And everyone went, okay, we'll just do a quick shifty into the sea, look around, straight back out. And he said, okay. And Sky, I'm not quite sure if it's going to fit over your face, but we're going to try. And Sky said, okay. And she put the mask on her face and she went, I think it's okay, Andy. It'll be fine. And Andy's like, whew, that's lucky. And he said, El Fuego, I don't think you need one, do you? And El Fuego went, no, I don't need one. I'm a ghost. And everyone went, awesome. So, put the scuba gear on, they did. Dived into the sea and started swimming as a big group all together. Sky was doing doggy paddle, obviously. El Fuego was doing cool backflips and loop-de-loops under the water. That's just the way he is. Aleksander and Kristoffer and Aunty Lisa were swimming sensibly. A little bit of a doggy paddle, just sensibly gliding along. Captain Barnacles had brought along his special Captain Barnacles under the water kit himself, with his little... So he was just drifting about the place. He was fine. Andy obviously looked like a ninja in all of his outfit with his... And he said, right, you guys, over a special radio, we're going to go and see if we can find some ammonites. Yeah, ammonites are super cool. They look like snails, but they're kind of not a snail. They just look like a snail. I don't know why I'm talking like this. Anyway, so they kept swimming and swimming and swimming, and eventually they found all these amazing ammonites who have the swirly shells. And if you spook an ammonite, I think I'm right in saying that it swims away backwards like this, which is exactly what one did when Aleksander went boom, and the ammonite went bah. And they went, do it again. And Aunty Lisa said, stop scaring the wildlife, you two. And Kristoffer went, I didn't even get a go to scare an ammonite. And another ammonite swam by, and Kristoffer went, boom. And the ammonite went, and swam away super fast. But disaster struck. The ammonite crashed into a really big, scary, under the sea dinosaur. What? OMG. That dinosaur, who had been sleeping, did not appreciate being woken up. And the dinosaur turned around towards where the ammonite had come from. And who did it find? It found Aleksander and Kristoffer and Aunty Lisa and Captain Barnacles and Andy and Sky and El Fuego. It glared at them. And they went... And everyone looked around to see what they might be able to do to get away from a very big, under-the-water, scary, swimming dinosaur, when El Fuego suddenly went and the scary under-the-water sea dinosaur went. He had never seen something so terrifying as a skeleton that danced and went. Really spooked him. He was telling his friends all about it for weeks. Everyone was bored of the story. But anyway, it was a bit of a close brush with death, as often happens. And everyone kind of went, you know what? Maybe we should get out of here. And so they started swimming back to shore. But on their way, they spotted something super sparkly. And they all went, oh, let's just quickly pop and see what that super sparkly thing is down on the sea floor. And they all went, Captain Barnacles went, oh, I think it might be some form of rock formation. Maybe a coral or some kind. Let's have a little look. That's definitely how he talks. And they looked. And what they discovered was gems. There were lots and lots of gems on the sea floor. Perhaps they'd just kind of been pushed out of the ground there. And Aleksander and Kristoffer and Aunty Lisa went, ooh, gems! Oh, think of all the cool stuff we could buy with those. Sparkly, so sparkly. Imagine the Lego and the dinosaur toys. Imagine it! And then Captain Barnacle said, no! We must never take anything from nature that we don't need. And Andy said, I have to agree. We cannot start taking things from Dinosaur Times just because they're sparkly. And Aunty Lisa and Aleksander and Kristoffer went, oh, but it was treasure. It would have been good treasure. And, you know, Lego, dinosaur toys, things like that. And Andy said, no, we have to leave it. But it is super cool. So you know what we should do? We should take some pictures. And Kristoffer said, I've got my camera. Let's take some underwater pictures. And Captain Barnacle said, well, I've borrowed Dashy's camera because she was so interested to see what we might find. And so they took some cool pictures of the gems and some selfies with some ammonites that had not got scared yet. And then they all swam to shore because it is much better to take only pictures and leave only footprints. And as they walked ashore across the sand, they left quite a few footprints that might puzzle a historical person who is called an archaeologist one day. Anyway, just as they'd got across the beach to where the clock was, the clock went dung, 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 and they all went back to present day times and the Natural History Museum. And they were like, wow, that was a super cool adventure in Dinosaur Times. And we've got some great pictures of under the sea gems and ammonites to show everybody. What a brilliant day. Also, we didn't get eaten. And that is always a result. What shall we do to celebrate? And Aunty Lisa said, hey, let's go to the cafe and get ourselves some cake. And everyone went, yay! cake! And that's exactly what they did. And that is the end of the story. I love you. Night night.